Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Thursday, the 19th of March. So, what are we going to talk about today? I'm going to talk about scaling your business, but not in what most people think of. It's scaling your business within your business. Sounds intriguing? Stay tuned. Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric, if you didn't already know it. Yes, this is the weekday, Monday through Friday. Today is Thursday, the 19th of March of 2026. So, what are we talking about when I talk about scaling your business? I mean, we all have those stretches of where we have hundreds of lawnmowers sitting out front and we're hoping for a couple quiet moments. All right, the rush is on. And if that sounds like you, we're not unique. It's something that we do. What I'm talking about is scaling your business within a business instead of trying to take on a second location to try to build your business up bigger. You can scale within that business. And you do have limitations, the size of your shop and the experience of your mechanic. If you're the mechanic and the owner, what is your experience level? And there's a number of different things that you can get into in the off season that can pay good dividends. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about, like, in our area during the midsummer right up through till fall, a lot of people trail ride with their side by sides, their four wheelers, and a lot of them are looking to get the aftermarket, upgrades to their machines, better shocks, better tires, better, and if you can fill that gap, it doesn't mean that you need to be able to work on all the engines. That in itself should be someone that's skilled, okay? Even Claude, he will not touch an engine. We learned our lesson with Massimo and Coleman and the Chinese engines and stuff. It just was a nightmare, okay? So what we did continue to do is if somebody needed, like a lot of UTV owners in our area, instead of going with the Navi tires that usually come on those units, they went and want to go to a more like a truck design tire because they're riding on the roads, on the pavement, and off the roads on dirt roads. So they want something that's going to give comfort. It's going to be ease of driving, and it's a big thing in our area. I mean, we have groups that get together of 20, 30 side by sides, and all traveling one behind the other and out having a great time. That's one option that you can look at is stocking upgrades to their machines, stocking tires that will fit their machines, and doing like just normal services on it. We do CV, we do brakes, we do anything other than the engine itself. You know, on the older Polarises, to do a water pump, you got to go internal. On the newer ones, it's just pop it off. A lot of times it's far cheaper because you can't really find all the parts to fix the old one. It's just to go on eBay and grab a new one and throw it on. You know, so that's one viable way to scale your business in the off season is to also offer, normal services, normal upkeep of their units, and it doesn't require a lot of skill. Okay? Probably the hardest thing, and if you're a young man, it's probably not that hard, but the hardest thing I would say is doing the tires because you're breaking the old ones down, putting the new ones on, and that's a young man's game. unless you have a tire machine. I stole mine because I got tired of it taking up space. You don't even need to stock the tires. You just need to be able to install them and balance them. And you can buy, I'll be honest with you, you can buy a friggin' tire machine with a balancer and everything on Temu for under $1,500. And depending on how big it is in your area, will dictate whether it's worth the investment or not. Only you can decide whether you want to take this on or not. It's just something to give thought to, that, hey, wait a minute, here's another revenue stream that I could look at, right? The next thing would be snowmobiles. Once the first snow falls of any kind, the groomers are out up here, and you have a lot of sleds running. Now, this past 3 years have been phenomenal for the guys with sleds. There was like a 10, 12-year period of where we just didn't have enough snow for these guys to ride. I used to, when the kids were young, we had the pair of sleds, and we had one kid on each sled with us, one riding with mom and one riding with me. And we used to hook up with other ones that were riding the trails, and we'd make a weekend of it, because I belonged to a hunting club up in the Adirondacks. And by being a member of that gave us access to lodging and, wood stove and all the comforts of home, But what we would do is we'd get together and we'd go up to like Little Blue, and we'd go to the restaurants, in the travel corridor. And you could spend all day long on trails. There were, along the way, in each direction, there were gas stations where you could whip in with a sled, fill it up, and off you go again. It was a lot of fun when the kids were young. The thing is with that type of environment, it does become costly to do a weekend thing. You got the fuel in the truck, the fuel in the sleds, food. The lodging was free, but I pay $800 a year just to be a member there, so it's not really free either, but it's there for convenience. You could do a number of things for sleds. Is stock certain belts that that are fast moving. Stock runners for the carbide for the skis in the front. Stock different size slides for the slide suspension. There's a number of things that you can do, and you can also get into the aftermarket market of the aftermarket exhausts, the loud ones that have the can that crack. All that stuff, people are willing to pay for it. It's funny how people have money for their toys, and then they cry foul when they don't have any money to pay their bills. So people do spend a lot of money on their toys and doing add-ons to them. And then you could also offer the basic repair, or not repair, the basic service of changing the oils, and checking the system. Snowmobiles aren't as bad as side-by-sides when it comes to the engines in them. You still have a lot of people that are rebuilding their engines at 3,000 to 4,000 miles on the sled, and they do it like clockwork. So if you get good at, how to put in pistons, rings, crank, seals, the bottom end, you can make pretty good chunk of money on them older sleds. And when I say older, it could be 2 years old and it's got 5,000 miles on it, and the owner wants to refreshen it and get it back to where it was when he first bought it. Because after a while, you're going to get some wear on those rings, right? And the cylinders. So you hold the cylinder, get a new set of rings, piston. If you're in there, you might still do it all, right? That's another viable option, is the sleds. And what you can do with them during the off season, which is the wintertime when it's the slowest, right? If you're available to help fix people's sleds, that's a moneymaker too. Only you can decide what it is that you want to take on and how deep you want to get. Like in our shop, when it comes to the snowmobiles and the side-by-sides, we'll do just about anything other than engines. When it comes to the farm tractors, that's our off-season cash cow. You have to wait longer for the money, but the end result is bigger money in the end, right? And that's what we're all after. The idea that you have to buy a second location to scale your business, I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm just saying bigger isn't always better. Getting better at what you're doing and getting more work at one location is the winning formula, because if you can do it there and you're busy year round, that second location can just mimic what the first one is, as long as they're not close to each other. They've got to be a distance away so that they're not taking the same customers from one shop to the next, okay? If that sounds reasonable. In the comments, what are you guys doing during the off season when it's crickets? I know that's a good time to freshen the shop up, good coat of paint, do some cleanups and all that stuff, which we do. But it's also a time to try to capitalize on what else can we add to our services that we can offer our community. Now, if you're not in an area where there's a lot of UTV, ATV, and snowmobile traffic, then you're probably going to have to go a different direction than that. In our area, like I say, it's especially with the way the snow's been the last 3 years, we have a lot of people come up our way from downstate, in Canada too, and ride our trails. There's also another thing that I had thought about that you could do, is a kind of like Sea-Tow does on the ocean, where they'll go out and bring in a disabled boat into their pier or into the pier that the owner wants it and get paid for that. You could also get your name known in the business of where if you have somebody has a sled breakdown, that you head up, get hooked onto it and get it out into your shop and get it fixed and back to the owner, or take it to the shop that they want you to take it to. That right there is a business venture. I may look into that. Sea-Tow bases its business model on it's so much a month, and if you never need them, that's great, right? But you're still making that monthly payment. It's like insurance, that if something does happen, the Sea-Tow will come out and bail your ass out. So you could do the same thing with the side-by-sides and the four-wheelers and the snowmobiles, is start a business like Sea-Tow, where you have a subscription-based business where it's so much a month, and we will come get your disabled unit, get it back to the shop. But at that point, any parts and labor that go into it is going to be on the customer, right? We're just doing a salvage where we're getting it off the trails and back home. And that means also being able to give the people a ride back that their sled became disabled. So keep that in mind. I'm full of different things, huh? You decide how busy you want to be, okay? In your shop, are there things that you're doing that you've taken on to scale your own business within a business during the lean times? I'd be curious to know. Today's going to be kind of a short video. My truck is acting up again. There's no guarantee with buying a new truck that it's going to be carefree. This thing has been a pain right in the backside. It went because the lights wouldn't turn off in the front fenders. They got that fixed, but since they got that fixed, the truck, this is the third time yesterday afternoon that you go to hit the starter and all it does is click. Claude ended up driving 13 miles to my rescue and took a hammer and tapped the starter and it started right up. Yes, it's still under warranty. Yes, I got to get it back to the Dodge dealership. And I know that they'll take care of me, but it's just the thing of, God, just stop with this crapola, right? All right, you guys have a great Thursday, and we'll catch you here bright and early tomorrow morning for another episode of the weekday. Think of different ways that you can scale within the business.